media show, and of course, a lot's going on in the media world. Of course, we've got all kinds of things happening with various wars, and of course, we did have that press conference with Kirsten Walker, and of course, Donald Trump, and of course, we'll be talking about that and seeing what folks have to say about that. And then, of course, there was a big award show that took place this weekend as well. So a lot of people are oftentimes excited about the Oscars and the Grammys, but there's another award show that takes place, and that is the Tonys, which is actually honoring the stage plays and all along those lines. So I'm gonna see what folks have to say about what they saw on the Tonys, if they saw anything on the Tonys, and some of the other things that are going on in the world as well. And I've got Sasha Starr with me, as well as one of the founders of the network, Kim Calhoun. So, Kim, I heard you and Sasha talking earlier and everything like that, but I do know that it's the media show, and that's just some of the things that I've heard about on the media. The big media story was Kirsten Walker's interview with Donald Trump and how he walked off the stage. And I actually did watch part of that. And apparently, she was pressing him on a number of issues that he should have been pressed on, including this economic fund that he's got to go to folks that he feel was wronged by various acts and everything like that. But a lot of people are saying that it's just hush money and all in that kind of space. And of course, she was also pressing him on the fact that he said he was not going to start any wars, and we're in the middle of like 3 or 4 wars and everything like that. So, and you mentioned Albania and everything like that. So it does seem like he was being pressed and got upset. And I had not heard that they kept the cameras rolling and that he was very much like a cantankerous kid and everything like that. So he was apparently huffing and puffing even after he had walked off the official interview and everything like that. So share with us what you saw online and everything like that, because you're the one that mentioned that you had seen where he had some other comments and was not all that happy. I guess he was very much like a spoiled child and
I
everything like
need
that.
to see if I can find it again. They've been taking these things down as fast as they put them up. Somebody will discover it, and so I will see if I can get it. I didn't think to record it at the time, otherwise I would share it with you. But yeah, he just kept going. I was cheated. They, stole the election from me. The Democrats this, Democrats that, but he just wouldn't stop. It was like on this, you know, stuck radio deal or stuck album, just over looping over and over and over. And then he started he goes, I'm done. Because she kept saying, but we're not here to talk about that. I want to discuss these other issues. And she even kept saying, I flew all the way here to get, do this interview with you. Like, we spent a lot of money bringing a crew here. I would just like to talk about these issues. You knew this is what we were going to talk about. This is what we told you we were going to discuss. And she was keeping her calm, and he just took his mic, I'm done. Well, at that point, apparently all the big cameras are supposed to go, but one of the somebody kept rolling, and he just, well, you know how he gets, and he just let her have it. He said, you're just fake news. You're just fake. All you want to do is talk about your stuff. Your stuff is nothing but lies. And, he just kept, coming down on her. I don't know why I did this. And then she goes, but you agreed to do this. You knew this is what we were going to talk about. He goes, no, I was cheated. I was cheated. And that's all he was stuck on. And then he started talking about the California elections and talking about how the California elections were cheating, and, that they should know the results by now. But I think they're hand counting all this. Am I right, Rick? The California elections, they're just.
Oh, I don't know. But the deal is the key to everything is that under California law, each state has the right to determine its own election policies. And as long as your ballot is postmarked by election day, they will accept and count that ballot for up to a week afterwards, which is tomorrow. Tomorrow is the last day for a ballot to arrive by mail and be counted. And so, yeah, they take their time with it, but it's even the California GOP, the official Republican Party of California, says there's nothing wrong with our voting system. Oh. What happens is that in each state has different policies. Each state has different voter behavior. In California, my wife and I vote by mail. It's very convenient, and I don't know if most people vote by mail, but a ton of Democrats vote by mail. some Republicans vote day of. So, it looks like Spencer Pratt was in second place in the mayor's race for days and days, but as more mail ballots were counted, he fell into third place. Steve Hilton was in the lead, I think, for governor, maybe for a little bit. And then he's a Fox News guy. As more ballots were counted, he fell into second place. He'll be in the runoff with Xavier Becerra for governor in November. And in each case, if Pratt somehow pulls it out, which he won't, the Democrat will win because California is a blue state. There's no cheating. It's just that 60% of California voters vote for Democratic candidates.
Well, mail-in voting is still allowed, and I'm okay with it. And what I noticed was they did a interview tour of one of the places, and they are confirming signatures. Like, they are validating your signature on the ballot with a signature
Yes.
I mean, they are validating everything to a T, so that if anything comes back at them, they have the proof that they did everything that they
if your signature is off, they can put a hold on your ballot and contact you, or you can look at it online and see whether it's been accepted. And if it hasn't been, then you have to go online, you have to call them and ask them what the problem is. And I get nervous because I don't sign my name that often, so I don't have a real consistent signature.
Right. I mean, and I think, eventually with AI, the use of AI, the system will become more efficient and faster. Now, I don't know if you can stop the cheating, but
there isn't any cheating.
I don't think there is either. I think this is just all gaslighting from them because they don't like to lose. And I don't, I heard, Hillary asked for a recount, and that's fine, but she didn't everybody's cheating, but, Trump sure did.
So
but he didn't say everybody was cheating when he won, did he? No, he didn't.
No, but let's talk about the crime of voter fraud versus embezzlement. Say you're the bookkeeper in a company and you figure out a way, you set up a fake vendor account and you start writing checks for $2,000 or $3,000 every couple months to this vendor account that doesn't exist. That money goes to you, and you maybe steal for every year. You maybe embezzle $30,000 and you buy nice shoes. You maybe gamble, and this goes on for 5 years till you get caught, and you've taken $150,000. That's a real crime with real benefits. You've stolen 150. What do you get from voter fraud? You take somebody else's ballot. Say your wife sadly died, and you keep voting for her. So what do you get for that? You get one more vote cast for the candidates of your choice, and you get the risk of going to prison for 2 to 4 years. You don't get 150. It's a stupid crime. Very few people do it because the benefits, the rewards are low, and the potential risk is high. So the Heritage Foundation, which keeps track of voter fraud, has found fewer than 2,000 instances of voter fraud among 2 billion total U.S. votes cast across more than in the 21st century. People don't do it unless they're dumb or confused or they got bad advice. You can be somebody. There's a famous case out of Texas. This woman gets out of prison and she wants to vote. So she calls 2, voting centers to ask, am I entitled to vote? And they say, yeah, you should be fine. So she casts a vote. Turns out the advice was wrong. She goes back to prison.
I mean, I don't understand this. Again, they don't scream and cry voter fraud when they win. And I think if there's a fraud system, it's going to be every time there's an election, if there's a big fraud system. I think the fraud is them because when they lose, they get upset as if they really expected to win. Like they felt like that the odds, there was something there to flip the switch for them. And I think that that's why Trump was
for the past 10 years, Trump's approval has been polled, opinion polls by the of people in various states of the entire U.S. population. And Trump has participated in 3 presidential elections. And he's been the subject of about 3,500 opinion polls. He's never gotten a majority of votes in a presidential election. He came closest this last time when he got like 49.7% of the vote, but still not 50%. And in 99% of the opinion polls, Trump is underwater, where a majority of the poll respondents say they don't like him. And coming off of 2020, the worst year in American history, probably since the Great Depression, the country shut down. There was the stock market crash. There was massive unemployment. People were dying like crazy from COVID, and Trump was in charge. Of course, people would vote against him. And he can't believe it, even though he presided over the shittiest year in U.S. history since about 1933.
Rick, you missed one. He actually ran 4 times because he ran in 2000 briefly as a candidate for the Reform Party. So
So he talked about running and he put his name out there, but he never actually did he participate in any national primaries? I don't think so.
They say he withdrew before the primaries.
Right. So he's made noise about running for president before, right, as you said, but he's participated. He was on the ballot in 3 elections. And didn't get 50% of the vote in any of them. And it makes the most sense that he would have lost in 2020 because 2020 was a horrible year for America.
No,
Yeah.
That was not a good year for America. Kim, just really quickly, because I mentioned it earlier, did you watch the Tonys? Because apparently, and we had a aerialist on, Joe Rose, on the online dinner party on Wednesday. I think that's the first time I've had an aerialist on, but Pink apparently did an aerial routine as part of the Tony Awards. And of course, this film, Shimigatone won for Best Musical and Liberation won for Best Play. And there was a revival of, I think it was Ragtime, or one of the other classic films that has won as well.
I missed it, but Pink did a Tinkerbell. She was flying on the stage with her aerobatic. Just telling everybody how thankful she was that she had been asked to participate. I didn't get to see it all, but I did get to watch clips. And I'm going to sit down and watch it because one of the things I love are the speeches that everybody has to say, because it's not just about political, right? There's just so many other beautiful things. One of the things I did watch yesterday that just spellbound me. In fact, I thought I was just going to scroll through it, but I didn't. I sat through the whole 30 minutes of the commencement speech from the Harvard valedictorian. And wow, I just want to say, wow, the youth is getting it. They're understanding the trials and challenges that they are being thrown into moving forward. And he didn't make it a political statement. But he did, because he's, in the legal world with Harvard there were some comments made, and, their challenges that they're facing for the future, are big. They're not like what they were 20 years ago. And it is our leaders' fault. And like he said, the people need to pull together and fix this. So I was so where normally I might kind of halfway listen and this person, this human gets it, and he was good, and maybe I can pull it and we can replay it on Pod TV sometime.
Yeah, that'd be great.
But some of the things I do want to mention about what we're doing here at Pod TV, it's not a global issue, but we do have a Medicare expert. I highly recommend anyone who is struggling with reading the Medicare options to please watch our show. It's free. We're not here to sell you anything. She's not here to sell you anything. One of the, ask questions. Again, this is free advice. And I just want to say, a lot of the people, when they're consulting you, they're there to sell you something. So they're going to direct you. That's going to generally benefit their pocketbook too. So be very careful. I'm unfortunately, but I'm applying for Medicare this year. I have to have it done by the end of the month. By law, they have this rule. Everything about Medicare is all about how they can penalize you. So if you don't have it registered by 3 months prior to your birthday, you get a penalty. If you pick the wrong plan, you get a penalty of 40%. If you bought B but didn't get this and forgot to add prescriptions, and the doctors can tell you all these things that they want to, but you can't get your prescriptions because they're going to cost you $700 a pill. So I don't think it should be this complicated. I sat on, it was a great show, and I told her, I said, why aren't we changing the laws instead of pushing more options? Because I looked at some of the options, and although they have the A, B, C that my parents had and everything, they've got options all the way up to N now. I took a class on options all the way up to G, but I just received, so I think, if you get a chance, just to talk about media here, I would highly recommend watching that show. Also watch some of the investment shows. Sasha's investment show, it's really good and inspiring just to sit and listen to people talk about the investments and what they're doing with them, because you can go out there and try it yourself, but you're not experienced, and these guys are experienced, and it's just coffee shop talk, or barbershop talk, but that's where the best talk comes from, is just from the people who are experienced at it and talk about their highs and lows of what they're doing. Rick Rosner's show is really, really good, Naked at Night. I think you guys have got a new subject that you're painting. Am I right?
Yeah, she's about done.
Okay. Yep. See, I do get a chance to catch up with everybody's show. I might not. But I try to. But some very good shows. There's just so much going on in this world, and trying to pull it all together and get as much of the truth out there as we can. That's what Pod TV is about, is the real people, the real voices from everywhere in the world, sharing the real stories. And we're not paid for. We're not paid for by sponsors. We're not paid for by politicians, and we're not regulated. The FCC cannot come in and tell us, you can't say that. We do self-regulation. We try to keep it clean, but we want it honest, and we don't want pressure on our people to speak as much honesty as they can. And there's a difference in honesty and truth. But if you're sitting there sharing the story the way you know it and being as honest as you can and fact checked yourself, sometimes the truth may change, but you're being honest. And that's what we strive for here at Pod TV. We have some entertaining shows like Mark's show. Don't forget to watch that this evening as well. And I think we're still doing World Politics on Tuesdays
and Thursdays, still doing World Politics. And we also have on Tuesdays and Fridays, Sasha's Ukraine show, where he brings
That's right.
And Ivan is his man in the street right from Kyiv. So he's right there in the war zone, and oftentimes has some great videos that he shares that is directly from Ukraine and everything like that. So we get some great viewpoints from
Ukraine. And I think that's important. Again, real people in the world, where they're located, and we're getting the real stories, and not stories that are altered or adjusted based on what the government wants the people to know. We did have a gentleman from Israel on our show there for a while. telling us what was going on there. But also the chess show. Chess show received an enormous amount of views the other day. A spike in watching chess. I think it's a fun spectator sport. I highly recommend the sport. I actually recommend it to a lot of my friends who have children. I tell them it helps calm them down, makes them focus and think. You know, kids with different challenges in life in this day and time, I think chess is a good game. Plus, it burns calories. I read that one time in a documentary that playing chess can burn a lot of calories. I didn't know that until I read that. So
You definitely burn calories and everything like that. Hey, Sasha, just really quickly, and I'm hoping that we'll get a theater show at some point or another, but what is your take on, did you watch the Tonys? Because I did see that we had one of the oldest winners at everything, because John Lithgow, who has been an actor forever and everything like that, became one of the oldest Tony Award winners for his role as the cantankerous anti-Semitic children's author Roald Dahl in Giant. And apparently Leslie Manfield took home the trophy for Best Actress in a Play for Oedipus and everything like that. But I just wondered if you watched any, because they also said there were several other performers that celebrated their first Tony wins, including Cassie Levi and Joshua Henry for Ragtime, Alden Ehrenreich for Becky Shaw, and Shoshana Bean for The Lost Boys. So it looks like there was some new plays, but I do know that some people have been concerned about the theater world because of the prices of theater tickets, and not everybody can afford them, even though where I'm at here in Durham, the DPAC is a kind of like a second Broadway, so a lot of the Broadway shows wind up coming down here and everything like that, and it's considered one of the top theaters in the Southeast and everything like that. But I just wondering, how is theater doing in the Canadian space, and are you hearing the same things that I am, which a lot of people are feeling that they can't afford a theater ticket even if they want to go?
In Toronto areas, there is a proliferation of small professional groups which are playing classical repertoire, modern repertoire. It's such a joy to see these shows. Of course, they have a touring musical productions coming to Toronto on a regular basis. I was really glad that musical chess was extremely popular in Toronto. It's now revival on Broadway, but in Toronto, it started, its first played same time as in Europe in 40 years ago or so. And I saw probably 5 or 6 different productions. I saw chess in concert and many occasions, and I saw some numbers from the show on YouTube, fantastic renditions. So I could recommend the show anytime, anywhere you are. Just see it. It's really fantastic play. I saw in Broadway a long time ago, Ragtime. I saw Chorus Line. I saw Death of a Salesman, by the way. So many shows I'm familiar. Of course, new shows I'm not, because I haven't had an opportunity to see them.
And apparently, Death of a Salesman has got a revival, and it won at the Tony. So, Best Direction of a Play, Joe Mandela won for Death of a Salesman, and also the actress Laura Metcalf won as well. So it does look like there's a revival of some old shows, including one that has an unusual title. So I got to ask definitely Rick about this, but I remember the original Cats, but apparently for Best Directions of a Musical, Zaylan Leviston and Bill Roch won for something called Cats, the Jellicle Ball. So they've actually remade Cats, but gave it a new title and everything like that.
Cats was notorious for being a ridiculous, cheesy show, but it played forever. Tourists loved it.
You know, I remember, I think it was 1986, when there were 2 plays in Toronto, musicals started at the same time, Cats and Les Mis.
Mm-hmm.
So I went with my wife, we saw both, first Cats and then Les Mis. And I was absolutely appalled how great is Les Mis and what kind of a nonsense is Cats, except one cheesy song memories and so on. It's really, really stupid show. I regret that I even went to see it once, but Les Mis is something different. It's
Sounds like it.
it's a theme. It's a humanity show. It's you can't compare it to anything else. It's the music, the costumes, the songs, the scenario. The great Victor Hugo, who crafted that masterpiece. That's really something. And Cats, which is it's not even a children's show. It's kind of a nonsense show. That's really all there is to it.
And everything like that. We'll get ready to wrap up very shortly and everything like that. I did see that The Death of a Salesman also got the best scenic design of a play. So even this new version has won several awards. It also got for its scenery and everything like that. So it's good to see that it did that. I'm actually going to go, I think, next in July and August. There's a big theater festival in Winston-Salem. It used to be held in the odd years. Now it's held in the even years. And a lot of the big time African American theater people come to it every year, and I think that they're going to be honoring Felicia Rashad this year along with some other folks. But it's the National Black Theater Festival in Winston-Salem, and I think this might be its 30th anniversary. But I know it's a big time milestone because it started in a even year and then went on. I mean, started in an odd year and then went to even years after the pandemic. So it's been in even years for the last, I want to say, 4 to 6 years. It's been on even years. So this year, 2026, it will be taking place, and I do plan to go to that. Petrie Bird, who now lives in Atlanta but was the bailiff at Judge Judy's, those are great parties that I go to every year, and it's always fun to attend and all along those lines. So definitely plan to be there, and I know a lot of people are excited because I think they celebrated an anniversary recently as well. There was a big film festival in Miami that just recently took place. That was the ABFFF, American Black Film Festival. But yeah, the International Black Theater Festival, which is formerly known as the National Black Theater Festival, is seen as the premier biennial celebration of theater, particularly Black theater, and I was correct. It will be July 27th to August 1st, so I'm definitely planning to be there. Yeah, you got to come to this thing one time because it's definitely a wide-ranging audience. The audience isn't all African Americans, and it's got a lot of theater. They have about 100 theatrical performances, stage readings, film screenings, and a big international bazaar. So it is a big time in terms of like a vendor market. So it's a big time event. And even Malcolm Jamal Warner, who passed away not that long ago, used to be regularly as part of the poetry slam and everything like that. And the tickets aren't that bad. They're range from like $45 to $60 with collegiate productions around $30. So it's definitely worth attending, but you got a budget for it and everything like that. So it's a 6-day event, and they pretty much take over, I would say, pretty much all of Winston-Salem. They say in this Wikipedia downtown, but I would argue it pretty much takes over pretty much all of Winston-Salem because they go to Winston-Salem State, they go to Wake Forest, they go to a number of places around that city and everything like that. So it's good to see these kind of events take place, and that's good that they are coming back in full force after we had so much turmoil with the pandemic in the arts world and everything like that. But on that note, unless you got something you want to add, Rick, I'm going to wrap it up and everything like that. And
All right.
I'm get ready to go to a meeting myself. And I know we've also got the show with timeshares coming up at 1 o'clock and everything like that. So get ready.
All right. See you tomorrow morning. Thank you.
See you.
Sasha, bye.
Bye-bye.
All right. Take it.